weeks ago, you dealt with pornography on your postbag. You had a letter from Grace. Grace was in her 50s and had kept her problem secret. My story is very similar, but I feel it's getting worse, not better. I believe it could threaten my marriage if my wife ever found out. Would really like to talk to a man about my problem, but thought I would share with you, as you seem understanding and would not judge me. Thank you, Graham. Thank you, Graham, for being so honest with me. But I've got to say, Graham, your sin cannot be dealt with in the dark. It has got to come out to the light. And one thing about marriage I've learned over the years, and I've been married 48 years, that it has to be open and honest and nothing hidden. So you have got to share this with your wife, but also you have got to come in complete repentance. I do not condemn you, I do not judge you. We are a fallen people and we live in a fallen world. But if you look at Peter Horobin and listen to what he has to say, and I believe it will help you.
There's a very interesting verse in Job 31, where Job says, I made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at a girl. You know, we think about pornography as being a modern day problem. And in the sense that it is freely available on the internet and television, it is a modern day problem. But actually, the problems of man's heart are not new. There is a desire in the heart of man to be able to look at things which are sexually stimulating. And that's part of marriage. That's part of the covenant of marriage, of enjoying each other. What Job was talking about was looking at a girl with an ulterior motive of gratifying his own sexuality through what he has seen, which was ungodly, looking at another woman, which was not his wife. And it's a dangerous thing to do. Because when you are talking about pornography, what we're actually talking about is masturbation, orgasm, and coming to a place where you use other images of other women as a means of stimulating yourself. When that happens, what you're doing is joining yourself together with the spirit that is behind ungodly sex. And not only that, you are approving of those who are doing it. Tragically, looking at pornography is a huge problem inside the church today. Because of the free availability of images that they can look at on the internet privately without anybody else knowing what they're doing, it's become a sin that people indulge in, thinking that they can get away with it. But pornography is a bit like a downhill slide on an icy slope. Once you have started, actually, you can't turn back. It's a progression. You look at one thing and you get used to that level of image. And then you want something more and something more and something more. I don't think Paul was describing pornography when, in his letter to the Ephesians, he described a downhill slide. But he could well have been. Because what he said was this, that people lose all sensitivity and give themselves over to sensuality so as to indulge in every kind of impurity with a continual lust for more. And the fact is that when people get hooked into pornography, they indulge in all sorts of kinds of impurity that they would never dream of doing themselves. They indulge in activities in their minds which they would never dare to even do or talk about in another environment. They're doing it privately, but they're actually destroying themselves on the inside. And there's no way out once you're on that downhill slide unless you actually come to the place of saying, God, this is wrong. And not only it's wrong, but actually I want a way out. and then discover that there isn't a way out by yourself, because time and again, men especially, they try to get out of this and they find that they're continuously being dragged back into it. And they're being dragged back into it by the spiritual powers that have hooked them in. See, once we indulge in looking at pornography, we're actually involved in idolatry. We're involved in worship. And Paul in Ephesians 4:27 says, don't give a foothold to the devil. Don't give him an opportunity. But when we're actually indulging in watching pornography, we're actually giving the enemy an opportunity. We're indulging in something which is giving him grounds in our lives. People who have watched and indulged and got deeper and deeper into it, they not only need to make the right choice not to do it, but they actually will need deliverance from what the enemy has put into them, which hooks them into the bondage and from which it feels that there is no escape. Sometimes people have got hooked into pornography. I've got hooked into it because they've been looking for comfort in all the wrong places. They've been looking for a way out of their own difficulties or their depression. They've been hooked into it because other people have encouraged them. Many different reasons. And it is helpful to be able to find out what was the root, what was the reason why people got involved in the first place. But then they've got to make that choice, like Job did. Make a covenant with the eyes, not to get involved in the first place, and to choose to walk in purity. And if you have got involved and need help, be open, confess it, share it with someone you love and respect, so that you can make that choice to go God's way and be set free.
If you would like to write to Lorna's Postbag, you write to info@revelationtv.com or send a letter to me by the address on the screen. I look forward to hearing from you.